In the last video, we created a simple rock atlas, and today we want to take a closer look at the tilescatter node and use the atlas as the input. So let's just begin. And let's take a look at the first really nice feature of the tilescatter node. So usually you can go to pattern and increase your count, like to maybe 3, and you'd take your single rock and input it into image 1. You would take the next one and put it into image 2 and so on. But for InstaMAT, we can just set this to atlas input. And what's really important now, you have to set the count to the shapes, to the amount of shapes you have. So here we have 9 shapes. So I set my count to 9. And then I can just input this whole atlas into the atlas input. And as you can see, this looks perfectly scattered now. Let's make this a bit bigger. And although we scattered our rocks now, this looks a bit boring for my taste, so let's adjust it a bit. To do that, we have quite a lot of possibilities. So at first, I want to increase my count maybe to 6 by 6. And as you can see, when I increase the count for X, the amount for Y will be increased as well. This is because this lock is turned on. When I turn it off, it's possible to increase or decrease the amount on just one axis. So for example, I can do 10 by 6. And as you can see, the rock shape here changes immediately. So this is something that you might want to have, or something you don't want to have. In my case, I go back to 6 by 6. And for me, this misses quite a lot of variance, especially the position is way too straight for me. So at first, let's go to position and use the offset variance here. This looks way nicer and more chaotic. Exactly what I want. But what you can also see here, the blending is not really nice, at least not for what I want to do. And to fix this, we can just go to color and change the blend mode from default to maximum. And this is way more what I want to go for. I also want to increase the luminance variance, so all of our rocks have a different grayscale value. And at this point, I want to preview it in my 3D viewer, so let's create a few outputs. At first, I want to have a height output. So as you can see, we immediately get a height response. I also want to have a normal output, so I use a height to normal node. And just expose this as my normal output. I also want to have AO, so I use an height to ambient occlusion node and expose this as ambient occlusion. And the last one I want to do is roughness output, so I use a solid color node, set it to grayscale, make it white, and expose this as my roughness. This is a bit dark, so let's just copy this, set it to color, use a nice mid-gray maybe, and expose this as base color. And now my 3D viewport has a way better response. I can also go to my viewport settings and increase the displacement factor a bit. Let's go to 4 maybe. Yeah, this looks good. Maybe let's decrease it to 3. Let's work a bit more on our rocks here, actually in the tilescatter node. Let's quickly take a look at the orientation settings. And for those rocks, it might be not as relevant, like for a pattern that you want to create, for example. But I want to make sure that my variance is set to 1, so that all of the rocks are facing a different direction. I can also adjust my orientation, but I think that's not really needed for this case. So I just leave it at 16, or let's just reset it to 0. That's also a great feature. When you change any parameter, you will get this error here to reset it again. And I also don't want my rocks to touch like those here. So what I can do to fix that is I can go to mask and then enable collision. As you can see, nothing touches anymore. But at the same time, I have way fewer rocks now. So what I can do, I can play a bit with the collision scale. So if I increase this, we get fewer and fewer rocks as the collision scale will be higher. So I want to find a value where I still have enough rocks, but they are not touching yet. Maybe like this. And as we have different sizes in the atlas here, you can see that our rocks have a nice variation when it comes to scale. But I can refine it a bit more. So let's go to the size category here. And here I can increase or decrease the size on each axis, X and Y. And this will automatically also change the shape of the rocks. So when I decrease this, you can see that they get squeezed a bit. So I can really nicely adjust the shape of my rocks. And again, with the lock, when I turn it on, both axes will scale simultaneously. But I leave this at 1. What I want to change though is the variance. I like to set, depends on the case of course, but often I just like to set it to 0.5 on X and 0.5 on Y. And as you can see, now we have really big rocks and also smaller rocks here. This may be a bit too much, so let's turn on the lock and decrease it a bit. This looks good. We also have a setting for the minimum scale. Like when I set it higher, the shapes won't be as small on X and on Y as well. So when I increase both to 1, you can see this doesn't have as much influence anymore. So some of them stay exactly at the same size. So let's reset this. And then you have the scale parameter. This will basically change the scale of your rocks globally. And as you can see, the collision is still working. So as soon as they touch too much, they disappear. So let's find a nice value. This looks good. And in case I have too many rocks and I want to have fewer, I can also go to mask and adjust the density. But I like to have it at 1 in this case. We can also change the mode for the mask, like column for example. So when I now decrease and increase it, you can see that this is now column based, or row. This would be row based. Column plus row or row plus column. This will influence both, and also checkerboard. And here you have to see what fits your use case the most. I stay at default. One more great thing about the tile scatter node and also the guided scatter node, both of them come with a flood fill output, so I can just turn that on. And you can see there will be a new output which says flood fill. And here you can use all of the flood fill nodes, like for example a flood fill to gradient. But at the same time you can see that this changed our blend mode. So I want to go back and change it to maximum again. And this output is really awesome because you have a ton of possibilities to refine your scatters further. Like I could just blend this over my rocks. Let's actually set the angle variance to 1 and then multiply. And when I use this as our output now, you can see that our rocks now have this gradient blended in. Let's maybe use an auto levels here. So this will normalize our grayscale values from 0 to 1. As you can see with the flood fill to gradient blended in and without, they're quite pointy because I have my displacement factor a bit too high. This looks better. Okay, so today let's leave it at that. So we took a look at the tile scatter node and created a rock atlas, scattered it. And in the next one we will continue here and take a look at the guided scatter node and see how we can create smaller rocks around those bigger ones. So thanks for watching and see you in the next one.
If you enjoyed this video, drop us a comment below and don't forget to subscribe. For the latest news about InstaMAT, please visit our website, follow us on X, join us on Discord, or sign up for the Abstract community. You can find all the links in the video description below. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.